Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to show you how I put an initial edge on a knife after I finish making it. But I'll show you how I do it and offer you some other ways it can be done and how other makers do it as well. In one of the last videos you saw me make this chef's knife. I actually didn't show the making of this saya, but I've got to put an edge on it. The customer asked me to hold it for a while because it's a Christmas gift, and I've got to put an edge on it. I will go through the steps of forming the burr on the edge and how I remove it, and hopefully you'll get to see that burr fly off of there. Now, if you talk to 10 different makers, you're going to get 10 different ideas and methods of putting a secondary bevel on a knife. Because it's a chef's knife, I'm going to be using a wheel to put that secondary bevel on here and form the burr. If it was a big chopper, I would use my platen without the backer on it and slack belt it and form a convex edge. And I can show you that here. Now, one of the main things you have to keep in mind is before you even start is that you've established a good geometry on your edge, or a good bevel here and a good setup for your secondary bevel. For this chef's knife, I'm probably around 10 thousandths or less on my edge. And I want to have it to where my primary bevel established for the specific knife. If it's your chef's knife, I want a thin edge. Same with a fillet knife. I want a very thin edge. And I will do the same for most skinners. I'll have them down to 15 thou at least. I don't have any knife that is over 20 thousandths on the edge before I start the secondary bevel. And I've explained that before, but basically you get too thick of an edge, and as you sharpen over time, that edge is going to get thicker and thicker because you're already too thick on your primary bevel, and it'll get dull faster and get harder to sharpen, and it'll be too steep of a secondary bevel as you sharpen over time. When you see a big nickel wide secondary bevel there, you got a thick edge. Always try to get down to at least 20 thousandths. Big choppers, you can go a little bigger, axe of course is much different, but I try to stay in that 20 thousandths range. So what I'm gonna do is start with a 220 grit belt. I'm gonna come here to the wheel and I'm gonna hold it at about 17 degrees. What you have to remember is that a chef is not gonna pull out a Lansky or Stay Sharp or some fancy sharpener, which is great, but he's not gonna pull it out. He's gonna put out a butcher's rod, he's gonna touch up his edge and go with it. He's holding it about where he needs to be. He's done it enough, he knows how to do it. Same in the field of hunting. I carry a small butcher's rod with me, a very small one in my backpack, and that's how I touch up my edges. I just do it on the fly. So when I leave here, I will put my final sharpening, when I sharpen the edge, with a butcher's rod, leather strop. But I'll start right here first. So let's get the secondary bevel going. All right, so I don't know if you can see that, but now I have established a wire edge and it's rolled over on this side. And as I go back and forth on the wheel, that edge is going to rock back and forth, that burr, until the burr flies off. I'm going to try to capture that moment when the burr flies off. And once you get there, I'll take it and start working on it with a ceramic rod or whatever method you use to sharpen, a sharpening jig or a sharpening tool or whatever. It's ready. The burr's gone. Now you can take it from just putting a burr on there and knocking the burr off with your sharpening device, whatever you do. But this makes it much easier for me, and it works great. But now I'm going to move up to a 400 grit belt and knock that burr off, and I'll be ready to sharpen it. All right, now depending on the grinder you have, you can have a shorter span in between your wheels here with different attachments, all slack belt kind of grinding though. Basically, what we're going to do is the same thing. You can do it on whatever those kind of attachments you use. I'm only going to be about 2 inches away from this wheel or so. You don't want to be down here. So I don't want a strong circular secondary bevel. I just want a gentle appleseed secondary bevel. Something with strength behind it, but still has the geometry there to sharpen and hold that edge. So I'm going to use a 400 grit belt to do that. And I'm just going to come up here. There's several ways to do it. You can get up here on the top side. A lot of makers do that. You get a couple inches away from that wheel. I like to do it here where I can see it. Works best for me. I see it better this way. But like I say, it doesn't matter. You can come up here and do it, and it works the same way. And we're just going to put that gentle edge on there and form that burr. This one is one of 2 knives that I made for my journeyman test, and it went through the same process. This one was in my shop. I did on my own, and the whole chopping, 90-degree bend and everything, I straightened it out, and as you can tell, it's not straight, but I did bend it back. And it's a good candidate for this because the edge is dull, because I dulled it when I bent it so I wouldn't have flying shrapnel everywhere that was sharp in case it broke, but it didn't. So I'm going to use it as a example and a demonstration for demonstration purposes. So we're going to come right here and get started. All right, I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, that's how you do it, or how I do it. And several makers do it different ways, but I don't know if you can see, but it's just a convex edge there. And it's ready now to, do some final touch up there, but that's all I do, and that's how a convex gentle apple seed is done in my shop. All right, we're gonna go put the edge on that chef's knife and see if it'll cut. Now you can use your favorite jig or whatever it is to sharpen your knife with. There's all kinds out there. There's some for, even for your 2x72. And it really don't matter, but this is the way I sharpen them. It's fast. I don't have to set up anything to do it. I've done it for over 30 years and it works. And I use a ceramic butcher's rod. And this is what a chef or a butcher will use when he's using this knife. Matter of fact, the chef that this is going to, that's how he touches up his knives. When he gets a knife, he comes in here and he hits it on a rod. He can stand it up like this, work it back and forth. Many of them do it this way. But I take it just like this, and I work that edge until it's sharp. And then I'll take it to some leather, and I'll show you what I do there. But I will do this until that edge is pretty polished. I like to get it to where the 400 grit scratches are gone off of that edge, and it's shining, it's polished. Right now it's pretty sharp. You can take your fingernail. If it grabs your fingernail, it's got a pretty good edge on it. You know, that's not the ultimate test, and it depends on who you talk to, what that is. I mean, it'll shave right now, but I'm going to take it up another notch. Now, when I go in the field, this is what I have in my backpack, except it's about this long. Also, I have a leather strop. I mean, you can do it on your leather boot too, but just for touching up. But I do have both in my backpack, whether it's on me or in my vehicle. And when I go to dress a deer, I'll have access to it. Now, one of the ways you can tell, somebody can hand you a knife and say, is this knife sharp? You can look at it. You don't have to touch it. Just look at the edge, and if you see anything reflecting back at you, it's dull there. I mean, it shouldn't shine back at you. Right now, this edge is pretty sharp, so I'm going to take it to a leather strop. It's grabbing my nail everywhere. The burr is completely gone, and I'll hit it a little more and polish this edge and then strop it. Let me show you that. All right, so I still got a good ways I'd like to go with that ceramic rod, but I'm going to show you how to strop it, or how I strop it for the sake of time. So I've got just a homemade strop here. It's just a block with leather glued down to it, and I'm just going to strop it. And I would do this until I like it. It's kind of hard to do this on camera and put the right pressure I like to put on it here. But I'm just dragging it across that leather. Now, another way to do this is with this strop. Just like if you were sharpening a razor, this is a razor strop. And you can use this, a lot of people use them. Or you could use a belt for your 2x72 leather belt. That's one of the best ways. I wore mine out. I used it for years. I just had never replaced it. And I just hadn't felt the need to, but it does make things much faster. It's hard to hold this and do this on camera, but I do like to rest it like that. Now they make, leather wheels for bench grinders and other cardboard contraptions and even some wooden ones. But you can put rouge on here, like white rouge, and work it in. And you could have another one on the other side for a little bit rougher grit, and then a fine rouge on this side. And it really does well. I don't have any thing on this one now. It's kind of wore off. But you can see what I'm doing there is just stropping it back and forth, and that'll smooth that edge. If there's any little bitty burr left anywhere, it'll get it. Let's see how it cuts paper. Pretty sharp. Just a little bit right here on the tip. It's sharp to the touch with the thumbnail, but it could be touched up a little more. It's still cutting it. All right, so I'm still going to work on it with this ceramic rod. I want to polish that edge, and once its ceramic rod gets it good and polished, I will work on it a good little while with the leather strop. So let's see what it'll do to an onion. All right, I think it works pretty good. Like I said, if you ask 10 makers, you'll get 10 different ways of sharpening a blade or putting the edge on one, which is what this video is about. So I hope that helps. If you got any questions, leave them down below. I want to thank my patrons, and we're going to see you on the next one.